Bill and Ross, welcome back, both of you, to Out of the Hourglass. How are you guys doing this evening?
Excellent. I'm very excited for this.
Terrific, Molly. Thanks for having us back.
Yeah, of course. Now, for those who have not had the pleasure of listening to your past podcast, can you give me just a really quick, who you are and what you do, just to kind of reintroduce from a context? And Ross, let's start with you.
Sure, yeah. So I'm Ross Hartmann, founder of Kiingo AI. We're an AI adoption company. So it's basically, hey, there's this general purpose technology. A lot of companies know we have to use it, but we're not really sure why, how, etc. And so we help you use this technology and drive ROI.
Love it. And Bill, how about yourself?
Yes, my name is Bill Drysdale. I'm principal of the Taysa Group, and I'm a business advisor, executive coach, and I lead executives and business owners in peer advisory type groups, helping folks leverage the smarts, the learnings with each other and help everybody be better.
Fantastic. I would say at this point, several of our clients, or a good handful of our clients, are familiar with you both. I mean, Bill, you facilitate a couple of peer groups and masterminds for us. Ross, you have been a guest speaker on many of those peer groups. You were a virtual guest speaker at our Grand Summit. Several of our clients have gone through the Kiingo AI training. Bill, I thank you for making that introduction to Ross initially. It's been fantastic. So we're really grateful to be working with you both. And the reason why we're here is that we are launching, with the expertise of Ross and Bill, a new 6-month AI Accelerator Workshop starting in December. So starting this month that we're recording, and it's designed for businesses in the trades, in the services, who want to really turn this AI concept into from a buzzword into an actual competitive advantage. We talked a lot about it at the Grand Summit. There was a lot of good energy around it. I think some folks who were maybe a little bit timid about it at the start were leaving with, okay, there's opportunity here. So we're doing this new workshop, and we wanted to take a couple moments here to talk to the two of you about why, how, what the purpose of this is. And regardless of whether you are a client of ours that has the opportunity to join this group, and if you are, we want you to listen close, see if it's a good fit for you. But if you're not a client of Nolan Consulting Group, what we want you to take away from this, that if you are not engaging AI in your business, there are a lot of ways to do it, a lot of resources out there, and make it a priority. So I'll leave it there and we'll jump into this conversation. Bill, we're starting with the challenge here. There's a new reality that all companies are facing across industries. We focus specifically on the trades. What are you hearing from business owners as you talk to them, through mastermind groups, through one-on-one coaching about AI? Are they curious? Are they nervous? Skeptical?
Yeah, that's a great question. You might imagine it runs the gamut, but for the most part, I would say folks are curious. They hear about it, they read about it, they somewhat understand it, but they're really not sure what's the next step. They're really not sure, where do I go from here?
Mm.
So they're almost paralyzed.
Yeah.
Like, they hear this great stuff, but I don't know what to do next. I don't know how to do this in my company. I hear some of folks in my company are using AI, but what does that mean? So it's the curiosity and it's the understanding, like, man, I need to get involved in this, but really don't even know where to go first. And that's where this whole concept of this program came together, as really the three of us talked about it, is where do they start? As the owners, as the presidents, founders of these organizations, where do they start to really bring AI intelligently and intentionally into their organization?
Yeah, and you both have shared, just through conversations, and maybe Ross, this is a kind of a stat that you have seen, that 90% of employees are already experimenting with AI, maybe a little bit professionally, mostly probably personally in their own worlds. But
Yes.
when this is happening kind of in different silos, how does that kind of take a company off track?
Yeah, maybe I'll address first, maybe from the business side, if you
Yeah,
don't mind.
please.
So I really see that as it's a danger. When folks in the company are all kind of doing their own thing, it kind of brings a little bit of chaos. Someone maybe in marketing is doing one thing, someone in maybe accounting is doing another, salesperson's doing a third, and there's really no consistency. And might even be doing the opposite of what we intend. The AI is to help you be more efficient, help you do things faster, help remove mistakes, help us be better at what we do. And as I said, more efficient. But with everybody doing kind of their own thing, it gets a little chaotic. And the bottom line is there's no consistency procrastinate because there's no guidance.
Right.
And again, that's where, and what we're trying to do here, it has really helped change that mindset within the
Ross,
organization, starting from the top.
Yeah.
Ross, what's your take on that, even from like a technical side and like policy side?
Yeah, I mean, okay, I've been adopting this new motto recently that AI is not a technology problem, it is a people problem. We think about it, okay, we hear all these tech terms and there's ChatGPT and there's Gemini and the Claude, and we think, okay, which one do I use? How do I use it? How do I sign up, etc. But the biggest problem is, to your point of governance, essentially, do you have an AI use policy? Do you have a way where your people are using AI securely and they're not sharing your proprietary information? Because to that stat you pulled out earlier, which I think was from an MIT study around adoption and implementation, basically they found 90% of employees are using AI on their own accounts, essentially.
Yeah.
And so, do you think they know how to turn off training? No, they're sharing your company's information basically. And the reason they're doing this is because it saves them time. They don't necessarily want to volunteer that, but they're going to
Yeah.
continue doing it basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's huge.
The only reason I know about turning off training is because of you, Ross. So thank you. Kind of going back to, what you just said, it's helping them do their jobs maybe quicker, more efficiently. There's also on the flip side, I think, there's that fear or anxiety that AI sometimes means cutting jobs. That if my owner knows that I'm using AI to do this, are they even going to need me here
Yeah.
anymore? But the goal here, and the goal I think we want to really kind of leverage our businesses, with, is that we're trying to amplify this technology through our people. Is that the right way to look at it?
Yeah, I think that's a great distillation of that. And I want to say you're exactly right. Sometimes people feel those two almost conflicting feelings at the same time, like this is
Yeah.
going to speed me up, but also I don't want to automate myself out of a job and I don't want my employer to know about it. And yeah, that anxiety just cuts through everything, obviously. So there's a number of things you got to do from an adoption standpoint. And I do think demystification is the first piece. Basically, a lot of people, what they know about AI is quite frankly based on the Terminator and what's in movies, and like they have this boogeyman idea of what it is and what it isn't. Today, it's just a tool. Like it makes you more efficient if you know how to use it correctly. And you may
Yeah.
have heard that phrase, AI is not going to replace you, but somebody using AI will. I mean, as an employer, like if I can find somebody that's 10 times more effective or efficient, AI is not replacing you, but this other person's way, way better, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the person I'm going to bring in. So that's why you got to create some psychological safety for your team, essentially, and also demonstrate that people who automate their job are not punished. They are not fired. They are
Mhm.
rewarded. They are given more opportunity, essentially.
They know how to do things quicker. They know how to use the tools to their advantage.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about this workshop itself, how it's going to work. Because a lot of effort and energy by the two of you has been put into really crafting this to work well for business owners. So the approach here, it's a 6-month program. Why do it this way versus, just teaching everything that we know in a 1-day workshop? What's the reason for that structure?
The thing that we've kind of learned after working with a number of clients on their AI adoption is this, like I said, it's not a technology problem, it's a people problem. And a big challenge with that is it's a habit development. It's a kind of behavioral development that you've got to do. So learning to use the tools, and the only way you do that is doing it over time. And then additionally, I'll say the reason this isn't just like a 1-day workshop is we want you to apply the things we talk about during the sessions to your company in between the sessions. And, accountability is going to be a big part of this. Commitment's going to be a big part of this, and making sure you're driving results in between each of the sessions.
Yeah, absolutely. And Bill, agree?
Yeah, 100%. And just to add on to it, that's also the concept within the peer advisory.
Yeah.
Everybody within the same industry, within contractor services, for the most part, have similar challenges, similar opportunities. And we could also hold each other accountable, but we're really focusing on what makes sense for them. So again, we talked about this being a business transformation, a behavior shift. And as Ross said, we want them to be able to take a step out and then really have, a month in between to implement what we talked about within their organization, because we're going to leave with commitments, a plan, an action, and then the next session, all right, how did it work? Might have worked great for someone, good, but not great. And how do we learn from each other? So that's the peer advisory component. But again, taking that strategy and leveraging it. And it's really a step-by-step plan to help make this change.
It makes so much sense because so often a lot of us can find resources online and we learn something, but then we're not forced to do the homework. We're not forced to speak up in a week about what we've done. We basically move on to the next piece, the next thing on our priority list. The goal here is to actually make something happen and to hold that accountability. And knowing, Bill, you are fantastic at facilitating masterminds and peer groups and are going to bring that to the table, which is why this is a very cool partnership because Bill, you're bringing that strategic peer discussion side and Ross, through yourself and Kiingo AI are really bringing that technical training. But how does that work together in a session? And Bill, maybe I'll kick that off to you to start.
Yeah, and it's interesting. Ross and I, probably for a year and a half now, have been doing a lot of this together. We've been playing off of each other more and more. So it's not a 50-50 split. You hear from one and then the other. We're really working together on this. But let's just say, for sake of argument, I'll lead the peer advisory portion, really facilitating the conversations around the strategy, around leadership, around a rollout. What do we need to do? What are the conversations look like within your organization to ensure this is embraced and is consistent? That's what I'll bring to the table. And then Ross?
Yeah, obviously, we just had a lot of hands-on experience with the tools. So we're going to bring you the latest in what's changing. I mean, this may be outdated in a week or so, but we've got Gemini 3, we've got Opus 4.5, we got ChatGPT 5.1 Pro. It's just like stuff changes all the time, how you use these models. And I just want to add a quick caveat. If you don't know what any of those things are, that's perfectly fine. You don't have to. I just want you to know that, like, if you have any technical questions, we're there for you and can answer any of those.
That to me is going to be one of the coolest things about this workshop is it is designed. So we want to make sure from an audience perspective, it is intended for business owner or the AI champion in the business. So kind of a management team level player or that person who has been tapped to be that AI champion. Your level of expertise here, all levels are welcome. We have folks already. We have one group filled. We're looking to fill one more to get started. And those we've got the span. We've got folks who are advanced, who've been doing AI for a while or using AI for a while. Intermediate have played around with it, and a lot of beginners. And I love seeing the beginners sign up because they're taking a chance. They are nervous. But that they have made the recognition that I need to actually put some time into this because this becomes a people problem. Otherwise, if I don't, how do you guys anticipate kind of balancing, the fundamentals, especially for those who are new, while addressing, also specific needs or challenges? Because each company, as they're working through their strategy, they're going to come in with some different goals. They're going to come in with different policies for use cases. How do you intend to be able to kind of hit each person or, where they're at in a sense? Yeah. And Ross, I'm going to maybe tap that to you first, even from like a technical side.
So obviously there's the fundamentals of learning what the technology is. And that doesn't mean you have to get technical. That doesn't mean we have to do a deep dive into it. It's just, what does it do well? What doesn't it do well? And kind of learning the foundations of that. But then beyond that, again, if you think of AI as an adoption challenge and getting ROI from it as an adoption challenge rather than just a technology challenge. Everybody knows how to sign up for ChatGPT and start asking it questions, right? It's more of, does my team know how to use it? Do I know how to drive this forward in our company so that we're actually getting ROI from it? Have I set up our governance have I identified quick win projects? So there's a system, there's a model of AI adoption. And I would just say that's likely going to be very similar across every company. We're all in this together, mostly from the beginning, basically.
Bill, anything to add there?
Yeah, and really, when you look at the peer advisory part of this, everybody has their strengths, everybody has gaps, and the whole idea, we have 12 folks, in these groups, are to leverage each other's strengths and the gap and address the gaps. The folks that are coming in may be thinking they're not as strong, they're beginners at AI. They could be the strongest leaders. They could be the strongest strategically. Then on the flip side, folks that really are comfortable with ChatGPT and Claude and all that might not be strong on change management or implementation or execution or strategy. So we're really leveraging both. So I don't think it doesn't matter what level AI they're at, because again, this is how they're going to lead their organization, and it's understanding what it can do for their companies and the difference it can make, which is efficiencies, quality, and profitability.
But
and
all
this is
things
the
that we want.
foundation, 100%.
Yeah.
And this is all the foundation. Doesn't mean they're going to be the doers. Some might be, but it doesn't mean that they are. It's how they lead their organization, how they get that mindset around and adopting AI.
I love it. So when at the end of the 6 months, so this starts in December, it goes through May, if I'm counting correctly, what should our participants, actually expect to be walking away with? Something tangible? Is it a strategy? Is it all the above?
I'll start first, Ross, and then we'll get your side. So I think what we started with was folks are curious. They're a little nervous. I think they're going to leave with confidence. I think they're going to leave with now knowing what they need to do to implement this. They're going to have a plan. As we talked about, we're doing it every monthly,
Yep.
not in one long session, because they're going to be implementing as they go. So they're going to leave not only with a plan, but they're going to leave with something that they're already implementing, executing, but the
Mhm.
confidence to know that they're doing it the right way. And also, they have their peers in the group to validate that. Whether we're talking
Totally.
about job costing, lead gen, any process that they're looking to work on together, they're validating each other as well.
Yeah, so I'll echo that and say an AI strategy, a system of implementation is what we want you to end up with here. But on top of that, like Bill was saying, like every session is going to end with commitments. We're going to hold you accountable to those commitments. So you're actually going to be doing things in between the sessions, and that's going to drive impact in your company. So, let's say after the second session, we're looking for quick wins. Your team identifies that there's opportunity for using language models for contract review or for invoice processing or some way to reduce expenses on your admin side. Or maybe it is, Gemini 3's new model is incredible at vision. Maybe there's some takeoff opportunities there, some estimation opportunities. Looking for those things and giving you a system to implement those. That's the key thing is we're trying to set you up long term with a system that's going to drive AI adoption in your company. And that to me is more valuable than any technical training you could get essentially.
Yeah. It's because a lot of us, like the 90% of us who are playing around with it personally, we're kind of learning the technical stuff as we go about it. We're learning kind of by mistakes or, through little things, but we're not thinking about it holistically and doing it on a consistent basis, right? And that's kind of a big part of the change here. All right, Ross, give us like a little, like dangle a little carrot for us. Can you give us something, whether it's in like the estimating or the admin or marketing or ops, that you have seen or are seeing companies or people use AI, these days that maybe most owners don't even realize quite yet? Like, what's the opportunity here?
Yeah, that's really interesting. So many things come to mind. I mean, I think there's a spectrum of usage here. So I'll just give you one that like I'm personally passionate about, which is
Yeah.
not very sparkly, I guess. So essentially it's emails, responding to emails. And the very basic thing you could do is you could copy an email from Outlook and put it into ChatGPT and say, write a response. But when you kind of get to the next level of adoption here, what happens with us is every time we get an email, the AI reads all of the previous chains with that contact and all of the meeting transcripts that we've had with our AI note taker and drafts 3 versions of a response and puts it directly in our Outlook. So you're talking about some incredible time savings because the
Wow.
model knows contextually how you've worked with that company or that contact and also what your company does. And then I'll throw out just one other one real quick. And that's that, like I just mentioned, Gemini 3 just came out 2 weeks ago. Its vision model is incredible. I have been running it through electrical diagrams, architectural diagrams, and it can actually understand what's on the page. No other model has really been able to do that. I do think you're going to really start to see some breakthroughs on estimation and bidding. I think there's a ton of opportunity there.
Ah, so cool. The Outlook thing is wild.
Yeah.
Because like I'm doing it in some ways that you first initially mentioned, but like taking it to that next level
Yes.
is very cool. All right, Bill, something I know that's important to you here is time management.
Yeah.
And we're all very busy people. There's a lot of meetings on all of our calendars. I just asked this question, last week, 2 weeks ago, when I interviewed Dave Scaturo about his mastermind group and how he prioritizes this. How do people prioritize this? Why make time for this? Of all the things that a company or a business owner or management level person could be doing, why this?
Yeah, that's a great question, Molly. Working with leaders and folks who are always talking about how do we get some time back? And quite often I'll say, are you in meetings that you really shouldn't be in? As a leader, as the
Yeah.
executive, are you delegating properly? Do you trust your teams? But in this case, this is something where they need to be in because this AI implementation, the adoption of AI will help not just them, but their entire company take back time because it's going to make them more efficient, can make their processes more efficient. Just what Ross even mentioned just on the email. I mean, that becomes spend time agonizing over the right response.
Oh, yeah, for
And
sure.
this becomes very quick and just incredible. So even something just like that, but it's taking time back. It's adding time. So this is an investment to get time back, but not only be more efficient, but better with the outcome, better in the product that it's providing, reducing errors across the board. It'll give you time. It's an investment to regain time.
What's the risk of waiting on AI adoption right now? Maybe Ross, I'll flip that to you.
Yeah, it's really compounding effects essentially. So when you have a company that knows how to use these tools, to Bill's point of time, what do you do with that saved time? Well, you can essentially reinvest that time in the business to build out even more AI tools, which is going to save you, of course, more time in it, which you can reinvest. I mean, obviously, you think about this in finances, compounding interest and such. It's the exact same thing with these models. It's compounding leverage on time, but also, again, to Bill's point, on quality. So it's not just, yes, this saves me time, but it's my output is of a higher quality than it would be before. And so the reason to jump into this now, there's an incredible opportunity for you here where you can outpace your competitors. You can start to save time for yourself. You can get ahead in this essentially. And the earlier you start, the more compounding results you're going to get from that.
I love it.
Yeah.
I want to thank you both for doing this because it's, this is a new program. You guys saw an opportunity, in working with our clients and brought it to the table. And we're thrilled to be able to offer this to our clients with the right expertise to be leading these discussions and for that technical training. So we're very excited. I know you two are excited to get this kicked
We
off the
are.
ground. Both groups are starting the third week of December. So about 2 weeks from when this podcast is released. There's still opportunity. There's still room to sign up, but seats are limited. So if you are interested, I'll say to our summit clients, check out the summit weekly, talk to your coach. Registration information is there. Feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to get you the link. But once these seats are filled, they are filled. And maybe we'll do another one in 6 months. But this is the first groups getting started. Any final words that either of you want to say before we let the people go?
I will just
Go ahead, Ross. You go ahead.
Yeah, I'll just say I really do think of AI as a general purpose technology. And so don't think of it as, oh, this is QuickBooks or this is Salesforce or this is HubSpot. This is more similar to the computer. And so if you're going back to the late 80s or 90s and you're thinking, oh, we don't have time for computers, like it's just a fad, it's going to roll over, it doesn't matter. What happened, right? I mean,
Yeah,
just
it keeps going, whether we're on the horse or not.
Exactly.
Yep. And Bill?
Yeah, I could just add, just by facilitating 3 groups and knowing a lot of your member companies, I'm just excited to be a part of this and help them understand it and leverage it and really set them apart from the competition. And they're all quality companies, provide quality work.
Yep.
And this will just further set them apart from the other folks out there. So I'm just excited to be a part of it.
Well, it's good stuff. I thank you both for being here. I know I'll have the two of you on at a later date because, I'd love to do maybe a debrief of this workshop in the middle of next year just to see kind of what the takeaways were. I think that would be pretty awesome. But until then, we'll let you go. And like I said, if you're interested in signing up for this group, check your summit weekly, send a note to your coach. We're happy to get the link, but we are getting started in just 2 weeks. Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Ross.
Thank you, Molly.
Appreciate it.